In the issue column, you need 3 sub-columns to write the quantity, to write the rate, and then the amount. And the balance column again same, quantity, rate, and amount. 22 units if it is issued. So the remaining we have here, it is 16 units. And that 16 units we will issue from the 25 units. 4:3:2:1. So the total will be 10. So this is for A, this is for B, this is for C, and this is for X. Y, it is nil. Hello dear student, welcome to the session. My name is Kupamdi, faculty in the Department of Commerce, Vidyashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. So we are discussing fundamentals of cost accounting of second semester BCom. So here in the revision session, so we are discussing the previous year's question paper. So in the first session, we have seen the 5 marks question, and in the last session, we have seen the 10 marks question. And in the today's session, we will discuss the section C. So that is your 15 marks questions. So in the examination, as your examination paper pattern, so your 15 marks, you will write 2 questions. That is 15 into 2, total 30 marks. So here you will be given with usually 3 questions. In that, 1 will be the option and 3 questions that you need to write. So the common question that you can expect for 15 marks here, one important, it is the method of FIFO and the LIFO. So that is very important method for the 15 marks. And then second question, the preparation of primary and the secondary distribution summary. And that one question, you can definitely expect that too under the repeated distribution method. And then one more question, that is the preparation of estimated cost sheet. If the detailed cost sheet, if it is asked for the 10 marks, then the preparation of an actual cost sheet and then the estimated cost sheet, that problem you can expect for 15 marks. So here we'll see the previous year 2025 question paper. Question that is related to here, that is the method of FIFO and the LIFO. So first we'll see how to solve this question. So the question here is, the following is the record of receipts and issues of a certain material in the factory during a week. So prepare a store's ledger account under FIFO method and under LIFO method. So one single question, that is the various transaction is given. For this question, first we will prepare the store's ledger account under FIFO, and then again we'll prepare the store's ledger account under LIFO method. So as we all know, FIFO means it is the first in, first out. And the LIFO means it is last in, first out. So only the difference here, that is, whenever you need to issue the material, under FIFO, you will issue from the first lot. And if you are following the LIFO method, you will issue from the last lot. So that is the 2 differences that we have in the preparation of store's ledger account. So these are the transactions here. You are preparing the store's ledger account for the month of Jan 2025. Then first, you have an opening balance 50 tons at ₹10 per ton. So that is the balance column. So opening balance or the opening stock directly goes to the balance column. Then on 5th, there is an issue of 30 tons. On 12th, received 60 tons at the rate of 10.20 per ton. Then on 13th, it is issued 25 tons. Then 16th, it is received 10 tons at ₹15. Then on 18th, it is received 20 tons at ₹12. Then 20th, it is issued 40 tons. Then on 26th, it is received 22 tons at the rate of 10.30. And then on 29th, it is issued 38 tons. So these are the various transactions that you are given with. So these transactions, we will prepare the store's ledger account under both the method. So now we'll see the solution part. So here, the first store's ledger account, here method followed, it is FIFO method. So that is first in, first out method. So here the columns that you are required, it is, one, it is the date column, then here it is the receipt column, then this is the issue column, and this one it is the balance column. So date, then receipt, issues, and the balance. And receipt column, you need 3 sub-columns, that is quantity, rate, amount, and the same. In the issue column, you need 3 sub-columns to write the quantity, to write the rate and then the amount, and the balance column again same quantity, rate and amount. So we'll start passing the transaction. First, we have on first opening balance 50 tons at rupees 10 per ton. So on first you have balance column, quantity it is 50, rate it is 10. So that is here it is given 10 per ton. So that is the rate per unit, it is 10. So the amount 50 into 10, it is 500. Then next we have on fifth transaction. What is the transaction here? That is, we need to issue 30 tons. Date of transaction, it is 5th. So in the issue column, we have to issue 30 tons. So that means to this one, the previous balance you have in the storeroom, it is 50 tons. The quantity of material is there in the storeroom. From this 50 tons, now on 5th, we are issuing 30 tons to the production department. So from this quantity, we are issuing 30. So if you are using this lot, the same rate you have to take, that is 10 here. So the same rate you will write here 10. So the amount 30 into 10, it is 300. So on 5th you have issued 30 tons from the previous day balance of 50 tons. So now on 5th, after the issue, what is the remaining balance that we have in the storeroom? So that means 50 minus 30, we have 20 here. The same rate will not be changed. So the same rate you will write here, that is 10. So 20 into 10, it is 200. So that means on 5th, we have the balance in the storeroom, it is 20 tons. Next, on 12th, you have a transaction received 60 tons at the rate of 10.20 per ton. So the quantity received, it is 60 and the rate it is 10.2. So whenever there is a receipt, so that means you are a storekeeper. You just need to assume that you are a storekeeper and you are preparing the store's ledger account. So whenever there is a purchase or receipt, you will write it under the receipt column. And whenever there is an issue, you will write it under the issue column. And on each day of transaction, what is the remaining balance? That we need to write it in the balance column. So here on 12th, what is the transaction here? It is received 60 at the rate of 10.20. So the quantity received 60, rate it is 10.20. So 60 into 10.20, it is 612. So this is the receipt transaction. On the same day, that is on 12th, what is the balance in the storeroom? That we need to write. So when we write the balance, what do we have to do? To this one previous day balance, you have 20. So that has to be written first. So entire balance you will write first as it is. Now, the additional purchase or received it is 60. This goes to the second lot. You need to show it in the second lot, 60 units. Whatever the entire transaction is there, that you will write it here. This is lot 1 and this is lot 2. So you have 2 lot balance in the storeroom. So that means whenever there is a purchase, you will not add it to the balance. You will just show it as a separate lot. So the previous day, this is lot 1 and now purchase 60 unit. So that will be kept as lot 2. So now next today's transaction we have, it is on 13th. What is the transaction? It is issued 25 tons. So that means on 13th, we have to issue total 25 tons. So here we are following the method of FIFO. That means which is the first lot. From the first lot, the materials will be issued first. After the first lot is over, then the second lot that will be used. So that means on 13th transaction, we need to see the previous day balance. Here in the previous day, you have 20 units only in the first lot. So that means that 20 units you will issue first. Out of 25, 20 units that will be issued from the first lot. And the remaining 5 units that you will issue from the second lot. So that means from 60, you will issue remaining 5 units. So if you are using from this lot, the same rate you will take, that is 10.20. So 5 into 10.20, the amount it is 51. So now total you have issued 25 tons. So that means 20 units from the first lot and remaining 5 units from this 60 unit of material. Again, on 13th, what is the remaining balance after the issue? After 25 units are issued, what is the remaining balance? So here 60 minus 5. So here 20 entire unit is used and 60 minus 5 remaining that we have, it is 55 units, one lot that we have on 13th. So that is the remaining balance. Only we have one lot and in that lot we have 55 units of material. Next, we have on 16th transaction received 10 tons at the rate of rupees 15. So it is goes to the receipt column. Date of the transaction it is 16th. Quantity received 10. Rate it is 15. So on 16th we have received 10 tons. The rate per ton it is 15. So 10 into 15 it is 150. Now, on the same, on 16th, what is the balance after the receipt? What is the balance in the storeroom that we need to write? So, when you write the balance, you write the previous entire lot 1 as it is. Now, additional purchase 10 units that goes to the second lot. So, this is the lot 1 and this one is the lot 1 and lot 2. So now 16th transaction is done. Next, see the question. On 18th, again received 20 tons at the rate of 12 per ton. So the date of transaction is 18. The quantity received is 20 and the rate is 12. So on 18th, the quantity received it is 20, rate per ton it is 12. So 20 into 12 it is 240. So now, what is the balance on 18th? So when we write the balance, you see the previous day balance. First, these two balance, it is already there in the storeroom. So that has to be written first here. And then, now additional, they have received 20 units that goes to the third lot. So that means on 18th, we have lot 1, lot 2, and lot 3. We have 3 lot of material and in the first lot there is 55 units and in the second lot there is 10 units and in the third lot there is 20 units of material. Now after 18th, next we have on 20th transaction. So what it says, on 20th issued 40 tons of material. So that means on 20th we need to issue 20 tons of material to the production house. So the 20 transaction we have to issue 40 tons. That means from where we will issue, you would see the previous day balance. In the first lot you have 55 units. So that means we have enough issues or we have enough material in the first lot itself. So that means from this 55 units, now 40 units of material will be issued to the production house. So if you are using this lot, we will take the same rate, that is 10.20 as it is. So now 40 into 10.20, it is 408. So we have issued 40 units. So now on the same day, that is on 20th, what is the remaining balance after the issue? So that we need to write here. So for that 55, so 55 minus we have issued 40 units from the first lot. So 55 we have issued 40. So the remaining is 15. The same rate applicable here also. So 15 into 10.20, it is 153. Now, second lot you have 10, no changes in that. So this 10 lot you will write as it is here. And the third lot also there is no changes, you will write as it is. So that means on 20th you have 1, 2 and 3 lot in the material. So in the first lot you have 15 units and the second lot you have 10 units and in the third lot you have 20 units of material. Next, after 20th, we have 26th transaction, received 22 tons at the rate of 10.30 per ton. So the date of transaction, it is 26th. quantity received 22 and the rate it is 10.30. So that will be written here. So the rate per hour or rate per unit it is 10.30. The total amount 22 into 10.30 it is 226.6. So this is the receipt transaction. Again on 26th what is the balance? So that we need to write. So when you write the balance, you write entire balance first. Previous day, what is the balance you had? You write that first. That is 15, 10, 20 as it is. So now additional purchase here you have 22. So that goes to the last lot. So that means on 26th you have one lot, you have second, third and fourth. You have 4 lot of material on the date of 26th. Now, next transaction we have on 29th. What is the transaction? We need to issue 38 tons of material. So that means on 29th we have to issue total 38 unit of material. So the date of transaction is 29th. And we have to see immediate previous day in the balance column. What is the balance that we have? So in the first lot, there is 15 units of material. So that means you can issue only 15 units from the first lot. So that means out of 38 units that we need to issue, from the first lot, we will issue only 15. So remaining how much? Here we have again 23 units to issue. And for that 23, we'll go for the second lot. So this is the second lot. And in the second lot, again, we have only 10 units. So that 10 units, entire units, we will issue here. So from 23, we have issued 10. So remaining we have here, it is 13 units of material. And for this 13, after this lot is over, we'll go for this one. So that means from 20, now we have remaining 13. So that 13 units will be issued. So if you are using this lot, same price we need to take, that is 12. So 13 into 12, amount it is 156. So now totally we have issued 38 units of material from the last 3 lots. So now after this 38 units are issued, what is the remaining balance? So in the first lot, you had 15. That 15 units we have issued here. From the second lot, you had 10. That units is issued here. And from the remaining 20, we have issued 13. So 20 minus 13, we have remaining at a 7. So that is the first lot. And this 22, no changes in that. You will write as it is. So this is lot 1 and lot 2. We have issued the entire material. So all the transaction is done. So last, what is the closing balance? So that is on the last day, what is the remaining closing balance in the storeroom? So 7 plus 22, we have 29 units material remaining in the storeroom. Again, amount also 84 plus 224.4. So 308.4 is the closing balance. That is on the month end. So that is the balance remaining in the storeroom. So this is how we'll solve the question related to FIFO. That is using the first lot whenever there is an issue. So now same question will apply. Again they have asked to apply the method of LIFO. That is last in, first out. So here everything it is same. How do you write the balance or how do you write the receipt? Everything it is same. Only difference is that whenever you are issuing, you will not go from the first lot. You will start from the last lot. So that is the LIFO method. See the question, same transaction. On first, you have opening balance 50, rate 10. So 50 into 10, 500. Done. Then second, then on fifth, we have the issue of 30 tons. So the issue 30, that means you have only one lot 50. From that 50, 30 units will be issued. So 30 into 10, 300. So the remaining 50 minus 30, remaining we have 20. The rate will not change. So 20 into 10, 200. Next, on 12th, there is a receipt transaction, that is quantity received 60, rate it is 10.2, amount 60 into 10.2, it is 612. So you will write previous day balance first and now received 60. So you have lot 1 and lot 2 on 12th. Again, on 13th, what is the transaction? You need to issue 25 units. So here, important, we are following the method of LIFO. So that means you will issue from the last lot. So out of 60, you will issue 25 units. So if your this lot means you will take this rate 10.20. So 25 into 10.20, it is 255. So the balance first lot, no changes, you will write as it is. This first lot, no changes in that, you will write as it is. This is lot 1. And in the lot 2, we have issued 25. So 60 minus 25, we have remaining 35 units. Next, on 16th, the transaction, it is the receipt transaction. Quantity received 10, rate 15. So 10 into 15, it is 150. So we'll write the balance. Previous day balance, you write as it is. Now, additional purchase 10 units, that goes to the third lot. So that means on 16th, we have lot 1, lot 2 and lot 3. Then on 18th, again there is a receipt of 20 units at the rate of 12. So 20 into 12, 340. So how do we write the balance? So first, the previous day, 3 lot, 20, 35, 10, these will be written first, and then now additional received 20, that goes to the fourth lot. This is lot 1, lot 2, lot 3 and lot 4. Next, on 20th, what is the transaction? We need to issue, see, on 20th, we need to issue total 40 tons. So, from the last lot, we'll start. So, total we have to issue 40 and in the last lot, we have only 20 units. So, that will be issued first. And then from 40, 20 is issued, remaining again 20 is there. For that 20, we will go to this one. So, that 10 will be issued here. Again, minus 10, we have remaining 10 units and for that 10 units, we will go to this lot. So, from 35, we will issue 10 units. So, total we have issued 40. So, what is the balance after issuing 40? So, this first lot, no changes in that, you will write as it is. From this 35, you have issued 10. So, the remaining is 25 and this 10 lot and 20 units lot. So, that is entirely issued. So, you have only 2 lot. 20 units one lot and 25 units second lot. You have the balance on 20th. Next, on 26th, there is a transaction that is receipt of 22 tons. Rate it is 10.30 into 22 into 10.30, it is 226.6. So, whenever you write the balance, you write the previous day balance as it is 20 and 25. And now, additional purchase 22, that goes to the third lot. Now, on 29th, there is a transaction that says that we need to issue 38 tons. So, here in the last lot, we have only 22. So, first we can issue only 22 units. So, that means out of 38, 22 units if it is issued. So, the remaining we have here, it is 16 units. And that 16 units we will issue from the 25 units. So, from 25, we are issuing 16 at this rate. So, 16 into 10.20, it is 163.2. So, now remaining balance, 20th balance as it is. And from 25, we have issued 16 units. So, the remaining we have it is 9. So, the amount per unit rate will be same. 9 into 10.20, it is 91.8. So, this is the 29 transaction. So, the total closing balance, that is on the last day, we have the balance 20 plus 9, 29 units and the quantity, it is 29 units, amount 391.8. So, this is how we'll follow the LIFO. So, whether you apply the same method or the different method for the same question, your closing balance under LIFO and under FIFO should be the same. So, that means closing balance under FIFO, it is 29 units and closing balance under LIFO also, it is 29 units. So this is how you need to solve or you need to apply the method of FIFO and LIFO. Both are very important. Now, we'll move on to the second question. So, as I said earlier, the second question, it is all about the overheads chapter. That is your fifth unit that we have, it is the overhead cost. There you will prepare the primary and secondary distribution overhead under the method of repeated distribution method. So, we'll see that question here. So, see the question. Bharat Limited has 3 departments, that is 3 production department A, B, C and 2 service department which is X and Y. So here Bharat Limited, it has 5 department. In that A, B, C is the production department, X and Y is the service department. And the following are the data extracted from the records of the company for the year 2025. So, in the year 2025, what are the total overhead costs that they have incurred? It is given. So, the rent and rates 25,000, then general lighting 3,000, indirect wage 7,500, power 7,500, depreciation on machinery it is 50,000, sundries it is 50,000 which will be divided equally, and then the additional information is given. So here the additional information, it is all about the department wise your basis of apportionment. So here this information it is given to allocate all these expenses. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 expenses. To allocate these 6 expenses to these 5 departments, what are the basis that you will use? So that is given in this table. So you have direct wage, department wise direct wage, then you have HP of machine, then you have the machine's value, area and the light point. So now we'll see which are the overheads and which basis that you are supposed to use. So first we have rent and rates. To allocate rent and rates 25,000 to all the 5 departments, that is A, B, C, X and Y. So what are the bases that you will use from this? So for the rent allocation, always you will be using area. To allocate the rent and rates expenses, it will be considered as area as the basis of apportionment. So that is the area occupied by these 5 departments. So simply we will take the ratio. So here 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 2,000 and 500. So we'll take these simplified ratio to allocate the rent. So here rent and rates, your basis it is area. Then we have general lighting. So general lighting, here clearly it is given number of light point. In each department, what is the number of light points that is occupied? It is given here. So we will take this ratio, that is 10:15:20:10:5. So that will be the ratio to allocate the general lighting. So here you have light point. Next, indirect wage. Always, whenever the indirect wage is given, your direct wage will be the basis. So you will take the ratio, that is 150, 100, 150, 75 and 25. So we will take the equal ratio of this one to allocate the indirect wage. So for indirect wage, your basis it is direct wage. Then we have power. Always the power here that is given, your HP of machines, that is horsepower of machine. So this ratio, so your simplified ratio will be 6:3:5:1. So that will be taken to allocate the power. So this is HP of machines. Then depreciation on machinery. So this is the value of machinery. So here it is given machine's value. So the each department wise, what is the machine value that is given here? So this ratio will be taken to allocate the depreciation. Next we have sundries. So sundries 50,000, it is clearly given in the bracket, it will be divided equally. So all the department, 50,000 into 5 department means all the individual department 10,000 that will be allocated. So this is the first table that we'll prepare to allocate these expenses. So the table that we are going to prepare to allocate this one, so that we call it as a primary distribution summary. And after that, from these details, we have to prepare another statement. So that is called secondary distribution summary. So first we'll prepare primary distribution summary. The continuation will prepare secondary distribution. So move on to your solution part. First we'll prepare primary distribution summary for the year 2025. So here element column, then basis of apportionment, then one total column, then 5 individual department column. So here clearly you have to mention which are the production department A, B, C, and which are the service department, which is X and Y. So first, so always before we go for the allocation, first we need to write about the direct wage and direct material. These two are very important to write before we allocate the overhead. One, it is we need to write the direct wage, and then we need to write the direct material, that is actual amount. Whatever is given, that we have to write, that too about only the service department. So here service department X and Y. So for that, you see the table of apportionment. Here we don't have direct material. So direct material is nil, but we have direct wage. That too about the service department, which is 7,500 and 2,500. So that will write here. 7,500, then 2,500. So the total comes to 10,000. This is the first step that compulsorily you need to write, the direct wage and the direct material of the service department. Next, we'll go for allocating the expenses. Here we have rent and rates. So what is the rent and rates amount here? Rent and rates, it is 25,000. So total column, it is 25,000. Then the basis will be the area. Area or the square meters. See the table here. What is the area ratio? So here we can take the simplified ratio. If we cancel the zeros, so we have 20, 25, 30, 20 and 5. So that is, you can again go for the simplification. So 5 4s are 20, 5 5s are, 5 6s are, 5 4s are and 5 1s are. So you can take the simplified ratio here. So your ratio will be 4:5:6:4:1. So the total comes to, it is 20. So now this 25,000 in this ratio will allocate to all the department. So that is for A, 25,000 into 4 by 20. Then for B, 25,000 into 5 by 20. And for C, 25,000 into 6 by 20. And for X, 25,000 into 4 by 20. And then for Y, 25,000 into 1 by 20. So we'll allocate. So for A it will be 5,000. Then B, it is 6,250, and then for C, 7,500. Then for X, it is 5,000, and then for Y, it is 1,250. So we have allocated the rent. Next, see here, after rent, we have general lighting, which is 3,000. So we have general lighting, total amount, it is 3,000. To this, allocate this one, we have number of light point. Light point. So what is the ratio of number of light point? Here 10, 15, 20, 10, 5. So we can take as it is, or again we can simplify this one also. Since all these are the values that can be multiplied with the 5. So 5 2s are 10, 5 3s are 15, 5 4s are 20, 5 2s are 10, 5 1s are. So your ratio will be 2:3:4:2:1. So this 3,000 in this ratio will allocate to all the department. So first for A, 3,000 into, so the total comes to 5, total comes to 12, of this ratio. So for A, 3000 into 2 divided by 12. Then for B, 3000 into 3 divided by 12. Then for C, 3000 into 4 by 12. Then for X, 3000 into 2 by 12. Then for Y, 3000 into 1 by 12. So like that, we'll allocate to all the department. So here it will be 500. Here it will be 750. Then it will be 1000. So then it will be 500, then it will be 250. So this is the lighting allocation. Next we have, after lighting, we have indirect wage 7,500. So we have indirect wage, the total amount 7,500. To allocate this 7,500, your basis will be direct wage. So what is the ratio of direct wage? See, here we can simplify the ratio. Here we can cancel 2 zeros each. So your ratio will be 150, 100, 150, 75 and 25. You can take as it is, or again you can simplify also. So here I will be taking as it is, that is 150, 100, 150, 75 and 25. So your ratio will be 150, 100, 150, 75 and 25. So the total comes to 500. Now this 7,500 we can divide with the department. So 7,500 into 150 divided by 500, that is for A. So then 7,500 into 100 by 500, that is for B. Then 7,500 into 150 by 500, that is for C. Then for X, 7,500 into 75 by 500. Then for Y, 7,500 into 25 by 500. So your amount will be here 2,250, 1,500. Again here 2,250. Then 1,125. Last column, it is 375. So we have allocated the direct wage to all the department. So we have allocated your indirect wage in all the department by taking the direct wage as a basis. So next expenses that we have, it is the power. So the power, your basis will be HP of machine. So the total expenses is 7,500. So next we have power. Total amount, it is 7,500. Your basis will be HP of machines. HP of machines. So what is the ratio for HP of machines? So here 60, 30, 50 and 10, and last Y column it is nil. So your simplified ratio 6:3:5:1. So ratio will be 6:3:5:1 and the total will be 15, and in the last column Y there is no ratio it is given, so it will be nil. So now this 7,500 will allot in this ratio. So for A, 7,500 into 6 by 15. So the amount will be, it is 3,000. Then for B, 7,500 into 3 by 15. So the amount will be, it is 1,500. And the same way for C, 7,500 into 5 by 15, it is 2,500. Then for X, 7,500 into 1 divided by 15. So the amount will be, it is 500. And in the last column, it is nil. So now, next we have depreciation on machinery. It is 50,000. Your basis will be machinery value. So next we have depreciation on machinery. Total amount 50,000. So your basis will be value of machinery. So what is the ratio? Value of machinery. So here we have 3 lakh, 4 lakh, 5 lakh, 25,000 and 25,000. Now we'll cancel the 0 so that we can simplify the ratio. So 3 zeros cancel here. All the ratio, 3 zeros cancelled. So your ratio will be 300:400:500:25 and 25. You can further simplify, or here I have taken as it is. Your ratio is 300, 400, 500, 25 and 25. So ratio will be 300:400:500:25. 25 is to 25. So the total comes to 1,250. So this is the total ratio. So in this ratio, we'll allot 50,000 to all the department. So first for A, 50,000 into 300 divided by 1,250. So that will give you 12,000. Then for B, 50,000 into 400 divided by 1,250. So that will give you 16,000. Then for C, 50,000 into 500 divided by 1,250, it will be a 20,000. Then for the X, 50,000 into 25 divided by 1,250. So the same ratio for both, it is 1,000. So we have allotted the depreciation, that is 50,000 to all the department. And last we have one expenses, that is sundries of 50,000, which will be divided equally among all the department. So here we have sundries. So it will be divided equally. So the amount, it is 50,000. So we have 5 departments. So 50,000 divided by 5. So each individual department will allot 10,000. So we have 10,000 each for all the department. So now whatever the expenses is given, we have allotted all the expenses. That is in the statement primary distribution summary. So now what we have to do, we have to take the total. So we have to take the total of all the column, including the total column and 5 department column. We have to do the total. So here we'll have 1,53,000 as the total, and for A, that is from the beginning. From here, we need to do the total 5,000 plus 500 plus 2,250 plus 3,000 plus 12,000 plus 10,000. The total comes to 32,750. Then for B, 36,000. Then for C, 43,250. Then for X, and then for Y, 15,375. So this is the total of your primary distribution summary. So this is the first statement that you will prepare, that is the preparation of primary distribution summary. And next step we have to prepare the secondary distribution summary for the year 2025. Here the method we are following, it is the repeated distribution method. So the first step that we are doing here, it is we have to take the overhead as per primary distribution summary. So what is the total here? Whatever the actual amount we have got, so that we will take here. So simply we'll write all this total in the secondary distribution summary. So here total we have 1,53,000. Then A, it is 32,750. And then for B, it is 36,000. Then for C, it is 43,250. Then for X, 25,625. 25,625. Then for Y, we have 15,375. So that total we have to take first as it is. So after this total is taken, the next step it is what? We have to take the service department overhead, and that amount that has to be reallocated or redistributed to all the remaining department. So here we have service department X. So what is the overhead of service department X? We have 25,625. So what is the ratio? Here, for that, the service department has rendered the service on a percentage basis as under. We'll take this ratio. For A, it is 20, B, it is 30, C, 40, X, it is nil, Y, it is 10. So even though it is given in a percentage, we'll simply take it as a ratio. So that is 2:3:4:1. So your ratio will be 2:3:4:1. So that means this is for A, this is for B, this is C, and this is Y. So that means was you will take the overhead of X apart from X, that is except X, you will allocate this amount to all the remaining department. So first for A, that is 25,625 into 2 divided by 10, it will be 5,125. Then for B, 25,625 into 3 divided by 10, it will be 7,688. Then for C, 25,625 into 4 divided by 10, it is 10,250. Then for Y, it is 25,625 into 1 divided by 10, it is 2,563. So we'll allocate X department overhead to all the department except X. Next, again you will take service department Y. So what is the service department Y overhead now? So you will take, that is 15,375. That is as per the primary distribution summary. Again, X portion you have, that is 2,563. So the total comes to 15,375 plus 2,563. So the total comes to, you have 17,938, the overhead of service department Y. So what is the ratio for that? Here we have service department Y will be allocated in this ratio, that is 4:2:3:1. So for Y, it is nil. So the ratio will be 4:3:2:1. So the total will be 10. So this is for A, this is for B, this is for C, and this is for X. Y, it is nil. You will not allocate to the Y. So now 17,938 into 4 divided by 10, it is 7,175. Then 17,938 into 3 divided by 10, it is 5,381. Then 17,938 into 2 divided by 10, it is 3,588. Then for X, 17,938 into 1 divided by 10, for X it is 1,794. 1,794. So once your distribution is over, you can draw one line here. So once both the service department distribution is over, you can draw the line now. So again, we'll go for the service department X. So what is the service department X remaining overhead we have? It is 1,794. This again, that will be reallocated in this ratio. So X ratio it is 2:3:4:1. The total comes to 10. So now, except to the X, we will allocate to the rest of the department. So that is 1,794 into 2 divided by 10, it is 359. Then 1,794 into 3 divided by 10, it is 538. Then 1,794 into 4 divided by 10, it is 718. Then 1,794 divided by 10, it is 180. So now again we have service department Y. So service department Y overhead we have, it is 180. So that 180 we will allocate to the other department in this ratio, that is 4:3:2:1. So it is 10. So that means 180 into 4 divided by 10, it is 72. Then 180 into 3 divided by 10, it is 54. Then 180 into 2 divided by 10, it is 36. Then 180 into 1 divided by 10, we have it is 18. So again, we have done the second redistribution of X and Y. Now again, we'll go service department X. What is the service department X overhead remaining now? we have 18. So that 18 that will be allocated in this ratio, that is 2:3:4:1. So that means 18 you will not allocate to the X, you will allocate to the rest of the department. So that is for A, 18 into 2 divided by 10, it is 3.6. Or we can make it as 3.6 that we can round off to 4. Next, we have 18 into 3 divided by 10. It is 5.4 means it is 5. Then 18 into 4 divided by 10, we have it is 7. Then 18 into 1 divided by 10, we have it as 2. So the total should be equal to 18. Again, we are not going to reallocate this. We can stop the process here and we can do the total of production department. So we'll do the total of production department, that is A, B, C. So that means from here we'll do the total 32,750 plus 5,125, then 7,175, then 359, then 72 plus we have here 4. So the overhead of A, it is 45,485. Then department B, here we have 36,000 plus 7,688, then 5,381, then 538 plus 54, then we have here 5. So the department B overhead 49,666. Then we'll do the total of C, 43,250 plus 10,250 plus 3,588 plus 718 plus 36 plus 7, we have 57,849. So this is the final overhead of 3 production department A, B, C. So this is how you need to prepare the secondary distribution under the method of repeated distribution method. So now we'll move on to the third question that has been asked here related to the cost sheet. So that is the preparation of one simple cost sheet and the preparation of estimated cost sheet. So see the question here. The following data is furnished by a company for the year 2024. So what are the actual data that is for the year 2024? It's been given here. So you have opening stock of raw material, that is stock of material on 1/1/2024. That means your opening stock 70,000. Then you have stock on 31st/12/2024. That is the closing stock of raw material. Then we have purchase of raw material 1 lakh. Then we have factory wages. It is also called as a direct wage. So here the factory wage, it is equal to your direct wage. Simply if it is given it as a factory, we can't write it under the factory overhead. Here anywhere in the questions we don't have direct wage. So that means your factory wage itself is the direct wage, that is 2 lakh. Then we have factory expenses 36,000. Then administration expenses 44,000. Stock of finished goods on 1/1/2024, it is 40,000. Then stock of finished goods on 31st/12/2024, again it is 40,000. Then sales we have 5 lakh. Then the production during 2024, it is 4,000 units. So that is the number of units produced in the year 2024, that is 4,000. So the first, we have to prepare one simple cost sheet for the year 2024. After that, we have an estimated. So here it is given, the company wants to quote a contract for the supply of 1,000 units during the year 2025. For that, in the year 2025, the cost of material is going to increase by 15% and the factory wages, it will increase by 10%. Then we need to prepare a statement of cost for the year 2024 and a tender statement, that is an estimation for the year 2025, showing the price to be quoted per unit if the same percentage of profit is maintained as in the previous year. Assume that the overhead charges per unit will remain the same in the year 2000 as in the year 2024. So what we have to do, first we'll prepare one simple cost sheet for the year 2024. After that, we have to consider these details and we have to prepare one estimated cost sheet. So see the solution part. So the cost sheet for the year ending 2024, number of units produced, it is 4,000. So the first element in your cost sheet, your direct material consumed. Direct material consumed, we will take opening stock of raw material. Opening stock of raw material. So in the question, it is given opening stock of raw material is 70,000, and then to this we'll add purchase, it is 1 lakh. So opening stock of raw material is 70,000, add purchase of material 1 lakh. So the total comes to 1,70,000. And from this we need to deduct closing stock of raw material. Closing stock of material. So here it is given in the question, closing stock of material, it is 10,000. So 10,000. So exact cost of raw material used in the year 2024, it is 1,60,000. So divided by number of unit produced 4,000. So the per unit rate will be 40. So next, second element we have, it is the direct wage. Direct wage or factory wage. So what is the direct wage here given? Direct wage, it is 2 lakh. So the direct wage, we can directly write it in the outer column. That is total cost column, 2 lakh. So the per unit direct wage will be 2 lakh divided by 4,000. So it will be 50 unit or the 50 rupees per unit rate. So here third element always will have direct expenses. But here in these questions, we don't have any direct expenses. So now we'll add these two. So we will get prime cost. Prime cost, that is 2 lakh plus 1,60,000, 3,60,000. So 50 plus 40, so the per unit will be 90. Now, after your prime cost, we'll add factory overhead. Factory overhead, here we have factory expenses. Here in this question, we have factory expenses 36,000. So 36,000, that will be added to the prime cost. So your factory expenses per unit rate, 36,000 divided by 4,000, it will be 9. So your factory cost comes to 3,60,000 plus 36,000, that is 3,96,000. Here it will be 99. Then to this we'll add office and administration overhead. So here we have office and administration overhead. It is 44,000. So that is 44,000. So per unit will be 11. So your cost of production, that will be 4,40,000. So 99 plus 11, it will be 110 per unit rate. Next, we have to adjust your opening stock of finished goods. So that is given in your question, 40,000. Again, you have to deduct closing stock of finished goods. Closing stock of finished goods, again that will be minus 40,000. So we'll write it in the bracket. So your cost of goods sold will be, so it will be 4,40,000. So 110, it will be the same. So here in these questions, we don't have any selling and distribution overhead. So this cost of goods sold itself will be the total cost, that is 4,40,000. So finally, we'll write the sales amount. So sales, it is 5 lakh. So your sales will be 5 lakh. So the per unit of sales, 5 lakh divided by 4,000. So that will be 125. So the difference between the total cost and the sales, so that will be the profit. So that is 4,40,000 minus 5 lakh, we will have 60,000 is the profit amount. And here the per unit rate profit amount will be 50. So this is the preparation of actual cost sheet. So after this, here only we'll calculate the percentage of profit. So here your percentage of profit, so that will be, profit is 60,000 divided by 5 lakh, it will be the sales. So your percentage of profit is 60,000 divided by 5 lakh into 100. So your profit percentage, it will be 12%. So this is the percentage of profit. So next, in the same, based on that same cost sheet, we will prepare one estimated cost sheet for the year 2025. And the number of unit produced, it is 1000. So same element, you will have only these element when we prepare the estimated cost sheet also. So the first one, we have direct cost, direct material consumed. So for that, here it is clearly given, the cost of material, it will increase by 15%. So what is the cost of material in 2024? That is 1,60,000, and in the year 25, it will increase by 15%. So that means here 1,60,000 plus there is an increase by 15%. So that means 1,60,000 into 15%. So that will be 24,000. So your total cost of material in the year 2025, it will be 1,84,000. So now per unit rate, 1,84,000 divided by 1,000 units, it is the 184, it is the per unit rate. Then B, we have the direct wage or factory wage. Again, factory wage also, it is given, the factory wage, it will increase by 10%. So that means your factory wage in the year 2024, it is 2 lakh and it will increase by 10%. So 2 lakh add increase 10%. So 10% on 2 lakh. So that will be 20,000. So your factory wage or direct wage will be 2,20,000 divided by 1,000. Your 220 will be the per unit rate. So now we'll add these two. So we will get prime cost. So your prime cost will be 2,20,000 plus 1,84,000. It will be 4,04,000. So per unit rate will be 404. So next we have second. To this one we need to add factory overhead. So here factory overhead, what is given in the question? Assume that the overhead charged per unit will be the same. So whatever the overhead per unit you had in the previous year, so that will be the same for the current year also. So this 9 factory overhead and 11 office overhead, that will be same. So your per unit, it is 9 into number of unit produced, here it is 1000. So your factory overhead will be 9,000 per unit, it is 9. So this will be added to the prime cost. So your factory cost, so 4,04,000 plus 9,000, it is 4,13,000. Per unit will be 413. Next, we'll have office overhead. So office and administration overhead. So your office and administration overhead, your per unit will be 11. So that will be same in the year 2025 also. So 11 into 1,000 units. So it is 11,000. Per unit will be 11. So your cost of goods sold or your total cost will be the 4,13,000 plus 11,000. So 4,24,000, 4,25,000, 24,000. Per unit will be 424. So next we'll write the sales. Here we don't know what is the sales in the year 2025. So we will add profit. So we know the profit percentage in the previous year, that is 12%. So So your cost amount, total cost is 4,24,000 into 12 divided by, it is 88. So that is, if it is your 100, sales is 100, profit is the 12, remaining it is 88. So your profit amount 4,24,000 into 12 divided by 88, it is 57,818. So your per unit rate will be 57.8. So this will be the profit. So you will get the sales amount 4,24,000 plus 57,818. So your sales amount 4,81,818. So your per unit rate will be 481.8. So this will be your sales per unit rate. So this is how we'll solve the estimated cost sheet based on the previous year cost sheet. So this is all about your 15 marks section, where you will be given with the 3 questions and you have to attend any 2. So definitely you can expect LIFO and FIFO, primary distribution and secondary distribution, side cost sheet and estimated cost sheet. These 3 problems you can definitely expect for the examination. So this is all about your revision session. I hope you all understood the subject, and I'm hoping that you all can do well in the examinations, and maximum extra max you can get a good score from this subject. Thank you.